I'm Faith, and this is my friend Hayley. We're both content creators who love reading and both have ADHD. So, to please our silly little fast-paced brains, we thought it'd be fun to give each other a list of books to put to the test and see which ones are binge-worthy and hook us in the first 15 minutes of reading. Hello friends, and welcome back to another reading vlog. You guys, I am so excited for today's video. Not only because we are collabing with a friend, but also because we are matching two very big things in my life, and that is ADHD and reading. So if you guys couldn't tell, or if I haven't talked about it enough, I did get my ADHD diagnosis a couple years ago, and ever since then it has been a whirlwind of learning things about myself. But one thing that I feel like it does affect especially a lot in my day-to-day life is my reading life, because I can get very bored very easily. I have a really hard time like starting tasks, and I have a hard time like actually sitting still sometimes. Like I have to be moving or doing something with my hands. So like sitting down to read for long periods of time sometimes is extremely relaxing, but also sometimes is excruciating. So in today's video, me and bestie Hayley are doing a little ADHD reading challenge, so to say, where we give each other books, and if the book doesn't grip us in 15 minutes, we have to switch until we find one that does. I'm so excited for this video because I have been in a slump for the last couple weeks. I feel like literally ever since I read Pines by Blake Crouch, I've just been having a really hard time like really getting into something. So in a minute we are about to meet with Hayley to give each other our book recs, and then we're gonna start reading and find the book that hooks us. It's fun. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. This is gonna be so cool. My first option was You Killed Me First by John Mars. I just read this like not long ago. This first chapter, like wild, and then it like works backwards to that first chapter. So yeah. It's just like a great setup.
I love when plots are like that. And I know that's on, I think that's on Kindle Unlimited. At least I've been seeing it a lot.
Okay, my next choice for you is an interesting one. It is The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. So the reason I picked this one, it's short. That is like so helpful. And this book like made me feel like how I felt when I would read when I was a child. Like this is like, it feels nostalgic, but in an adult way. Yeah. And just the storyline is just so quick and it's nice. And it's just like a really wholesome read. So I think you're gonna like love this.
I think I actually have that on my Kindle too. I already own it. So I was like, this is perfect.
I get you. I know what's up. My next book for you I know is on your TBR. It is Book Lovers by Hayley Henry. This is actually one of the two books I'm currently reading, and it is just so like, I'm so gripped by the characters. The main female character right at the start describes herself as like the classic villain in romance novels where she's the girl that like is trying to steal the man and stuff. Yeah. And she's just fun. She's just a fun character that I got attached to like immediately, and I'm flying through this already. I started it like 2 days ago and I'm almost done, and I just like love it. So I think you're gonna really, really like it. I have two more for you. This was also on your TBR, which was people. So I read this at the start of the year. It was a 5 out of 5 star read for me. The like concept of it is really dark. Which is this woman goes to a hotel to like end her life, but it just becomes it's so interesting immediately because it starts with her arriving at the hotel, and like the characters are really intriguing, and the storyline is just again fast paced, and you want to know what happens to this girl like so quickly. 5 star right here. My last recommendation for you I got from a Hayley fam video, and it is Wild Dark Shore.
I know she recently read that.
Yeah, it is. Oh my god. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It literally intros with this woman's body like washing up ashore on this tiny island that a family lives on, and it's just them living there. And it's like a research island. And you're like, why is she there? How did she get there? Why is this family here? And like the family is essentially set to like almost save humanity and the plants of the world and stuff. It is unbelievable. It's so gripping. The ending to this book,
I've heard it's crazy.
It's actually wild, and like I've heard people not like the ending. I'm obsessed with the ending of this book. I think it was perfect. I sobbed my eyes out so intensely. I think you're gonna really like this one. Like I keep recommending it to everyone because I'm like, this is one of my new favorite books. Yeah.
Yes, I've heard a lot of really good things about it too, so like I feel like you're not the first person that's recommended me that. So I have to go book shopping.
Yo, shoot! No, we have to go book shopping.
If I must. And which one do you think I should start with?
I think it like kind of depends on the mood that you're in. Like if you're in like,
I don't know what mood I'm in.
I know, like if you're in like a summery kind of read, like Book Lovers is perfect for that. It is just a really cute summery read, I think. Wild Dark Shore is just so good though. Like that, it really is like one of my favorite books of all time now. So
Okay, friends, so now that we have all the books that we are going to be trying to read for this video, I need to go to the bookstore because I don't actually own all of these books. I'm not gonna buy all of them, but my local library doesn't have any of them available, and I only physically have a copy of Book Lovers, and then I do have the John Mars one on my Kindle, but all the other ones were not available. So I need to go to the bookstore, read the first 15 minutes of each of the books I don't own, and then if I end up really liking one of those books, I will buy it. But first going to read the first 15 minutes and see if any of those ones actually grip me, and then we'll read the ones that I own and then see which one I'm actually going to be reading for this video. So let's head to Barnes & Noble. Okay, so these are the only two that I could actually find in the store. The other ones I have on my Kindle or physically, because I have Book Lovers physically, and then I have The Wishing Game and the John Mars one, both on Kindle. So I think we're gonna start with The Wedding People. Gonna read 15 minutes of that, and then we're going to read 15 minutes of Wild Dark Shore, and then probably read Book Lovers, and then the other two. I don't know, I'm gonna read these two first and see how I feel about those ones. So I will give you guys updates when I've read 15 minutes of both. Hello friends, I am back in my car. So I did end up reading 15 minutes of both Wild Dark Shore and The Wedding People, and I got about 11 pages of both read. I'm definitely a lot more gripped by Wild Dark Shore. In the first 15 minutes, I learned that a woman that's like nearly dead washes up on shore. I learned a little bit about the family, like there's a dad, 3 kids, and I don't know if the wife is there or not. I can't remember. The first thing I noticed though about Wild Dark Shore is the writing. It's absolutely beautiful. It's very, very gripping. I want to say it's like lyrical, but I don't know if that's the right word, but it's not like too fluffy to where it's like hard to understand, but it's just very like beautifully done. I love her descriptions. I love the atmosphere that the author has set for us. So definitely pretty gripped by that one so far. And then for The Wedding People, I don't think I'm gonna do that one. I did like her writing was fun, and it was definitely a lot more like silly and easy to read, but in the first 15 minutes the author has already mentioned COVID and the pandemic like 3 times, and I literally hate reading books with that in it, and I just wasn't very gripped by the story so far. I am going to head home and read the first 15 minutes of Book Lovers, The Wishing Game, and I think it's You Killed Me First by John Mars. I keep forgetting the actual title of the book, but I'm going to read all of those at home because I do have those either on my Kindle or the physical copies. So let's head home, read 15 minutes of those books, and then decide which one we're going to stick with. We have read 15 minutes of all 3 of the other books that I had to read. So starting with Book Lovers, that was the first one that I read. I mean, it's Emily Henry, so you know the writing's gonna be kind of fun, fluffy, cute, silly, and I really, really enjoyed that. I got about 12 or 13 pages read of this one, and so far I like the characters, but our female main character is not my favorite. I can already tell kind of like off the bat. This does kind of seem like it's gonna be like a grumpy, so I'm really interested to see like how that's gonna go. I do love that they are both in the literary world. I do really like Emily Henry's writing. I feel like it is very easy to read. So I am enjoying this one, but I don't know if it's gripping me enough to like have it be the one that I read. Next, I read You Killed Me First, and this one I believe is an adult mystery thriller. Honestly, I don't really know what it's about, but I did read the first, I think like 17 pages of that one. I read that one a lot quicker. I think also because a few of the pages were like title pages, but this one I feel like is one of the most gripping because the prologue is basically like when you're in the midst of the chaos, and then the like first chapter goes back 11 months before whatever happened. So as far as like gripping wise, I would say You Killed Me First is like the most gripping just because of like what we're thrown into at the very beginning of the book. But something that I don't know if it's going to keep that grip is it follows characters. One of the main characters, Margot, I don't know if I'm gonna like her, but sometimes reading about like unlikable characters is fun. And then the last one, the one that I just finished, is The Wishing Game, and that one I think I got 13 pages in. Let me see, 14 pages in. And so far, this one, it feels very magical. It feels like it's gonna be very whimsical, but also like pretty emotional. I do like how the writing is like a tiny bit fluffy, not really though, but it's also very easy to read and kind of fly through. And I also know that this is a shorter book. So far, I feel like the ones that I keep thinking about are Wild Dark Shore and I think The Wishing Game. Those are the two that are like standing out the most to me right now. Wild Dark Shore, I just feel like the atmosphere and her writing just really pulled me in, and I feel like it's going to be kind of a complex story. But then with The Wishing Game, I really like the like magical whimsicalness of it, but also kind of the emotion that's in this book as well, and like the human connection part of it. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it for like 20 minutes and then I'll get back to you on like which one I end up sticking with. Okay friends, so I actually ended up sticking with Wild Dark Shore, and it's actually kind of silly because I'm currently watching the TV show Lost, well, rewatching it because I watched it all like a couple years ago, and this book is kind of giving Lost vibes because they're on this little island and there's a couple little like stations and things. Even though this island seems like it has more seasons than the island in Lost, it's like a tropical island in Lost, but this island seems a little more like colder, but still the vibes are all there. Like every single time they like describe the atmosphere and kind of just like the island in general, I'm thinking of the Lost Island with the Dharma stations, and it's just like the vibes are so parallel right now. So I'm loving that. There is some very interesting tension between Dominic and Rowan. So Dominic is the dad of the family, and then Rowan is the woman who washed ashore. They're just like suspicious of each other, I guess. Like she's a little bit suspicious of like the family and kind of like what's going on the island and all that stuff, and he's kind of suspicious of her, like what was she doing, where was she going, how did she get here. So there's just like some tension that I'm eating up. But also, I swear if they end up together, I'm kind of really hoping they do. I am very interested to see kind of what is going on this island because we kind of know the gist of it, right? Like they're there to protect like seeds and stuff, to basically like re-farm the food supply and just like keep that like emergency supply of seeds, I guess. That's still basically all we kind of know. It seems like the world off of this island, like the rest of the world, is really, really suffering due to like climate change, and it just seems like the world is going downhill very fast. So I want to say it gives a little bit of like apocalyptic vibes, but not quite yet. It's like pre-apocalypse. Is that a word? But also, like, we haven't seen any of the world outside this island, so I have like a weird feeling also that maybe like things are a lot worse than they think off the island. I don't know, that's also just speculation. It could be totally wrong. This book also does feel pretty genre bending. Like I'm getting a little bit mystery, a little bit like literary fiction, or maybe contemporary fiction. I don't know. Could be maybe romance. We'll see. Either way, I'm just having a good time. So I'm gonna keep reading and update you with my thoughts very soon. Hello, 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 friends. I am now about 50% of the way through Wild Dark Shore, and so far, like, not a whole lot has happened since I last updated you guys, which I think I was at like 30% last time I updated you. So far, we have learned a little bit more about Rowan and like why she was kind of like around the island. Still don't know like what happened to her and why she washed up like nearly dead, unless I just like missed that part. There is some growing tension between Rowan and Dominic, and I'm loving it. I feel like the middle section has gotten a little bit slow, so I am really excited for for it to pick up more in like the 60 and 75% mark. But even though this middle section is kind of slow, it is still very like atmospheric. We've kind of gotten to see different parts of the island. We've gotten a little bit more character background and development from the kids and a tiny bit from Dominic. We've learned a little bit more about Rowan's past. I do still have a lot of questions though, so I'm very interested to see like kind of how everything unfolds. There was something that was kind of dropped on us that has something to do with the like mystery portion of it. I think in the synopsis of the book, it says that there's like a freshly dug grave or something like that. We might kind of understand what's going on there pretty soon. Although it seems like multiple people on this island have died. So I'm very interested to see like why that is. I don't know if this author has any other books or if this was her debut, but I'd be very interested to see if she does have any other novels because I really love her writing. But right now I do really need to get out of the house. So I am going to go to Barnes & Noble again and read the rest of this book. I'm hoping to finish it today, which I feel like is doable. So I'm going to set an hour timer at Barnes & Noble and just read for an hour straight and see how much I can get done. So I'll see you at Barnes & Noble. I just finished Wild Dark Shore. Nobody told me that that ending was gonna be sad. Well, actually that's a lie because I do think that Hayley told me that she sobbed at the ending. But I wasn't expecting that. This author's writing is so beautiful. It actually reminds me a lot of Adrienne Young's writing, but Adrienne Young's books I feel like very much lack plot sometimes. The Unmaking of June Farrow was like my favorite book that she's written, and then everything else that I've read by her has not been great for me for some reason, but I still absolutely love her writing. This author's writing definitely feels a bit like similar to that, where it's just very, very beautifully done. And like the atmosphere that they set up for us is insane. This book was definitely like different from what I thought, but also exactly what I thought at the same time. I don't really know how that works. Like it explored a lot on, you know, like family dynamics, but also just like relationships and socialization when you are kind of like isolated from the rest of the world. I really, really liked how it just felt like such a different world that they were living in, because the kids, they don't really have, like they have computers and phones and stuff, but to save power and energy, they like can't really use them. So they're very knowledgeable about like the world around them, about nature. I mean, this like 9-year-old knows so much about plants, and I just really loved that, because I really don't like in books when they make it so modernized, when they're like talking about phones and electronics and all that stuff a lot. I really like when a book can kind of like take me out of society and in the modern world and place me into like something new and different, and I feel like this book definitely did that. I also thought that the like complexity of each character was very beautifully done, and just the way that they like cared about each other, but also all the things that they were doing wrong relationally, I guess I would say. I don't know, like it just explored a lot on like the family dynamic, and especially this girl coming in and kind of like how she changed that dynamic, and also kind of how it changed her life as well. So I don't know, the whole thing was just, it was such a beautiful story. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars though, just because it wasn't like, it didn't like super wow me, but it was definitely like a really beautiful story. I thought that there was gonna be more of like a plot twist or some kind of like crazy thing going on. Like I thought maybe there was something on the island where everyone went crazy, or maybe the world like off this island was like going to complete crap. Like I thought that there was something crazy that was going to be happening by the end. And although there was a little bit of a plot twist or something that was like very surprising, it was not what I thought it was, and I literally hated that. I hated that so much. It was icky. I hated it. I feel like if this book had more of a plot, it probably would have been a 5-star for me, but it was more of a character, family type of study in a way. And although I do like those books, it just wasn't like 5-star material for me at least, but I still really enjoyed it, and I still would very much recommend it. Definitely got me out of my comfort zone, because I do not think I would have picked that up if Hayley hadn't have like recommended it to me for this video. But anyway guys, this was fun. I hope you had a good time. I have a lot of very, very fun and exciting reading plans for next week's video, so I'm going to hop on that. So I will see you next Sunday for another very fun reading vlog. Mwah.